The snow fell gently over the small village of Sunnybrook, covering the streets with a thin, bright white layer. The cold air brought with it a peculiar silence, as if time itself were waiting for something special to happen. In the wooden house at the top of the hill, Grace finished sweeping the kitchen floor, while her grandmother, Emily, sat by the fireplace, absent-mindedly stirring a handful of dried herbs. "Baba, why do we always clean the house so carefully at this time of year?" Grace asked, tossing the cleaning cloth into the bucket. Emily looked up with her deep, experienced eyes at her granddaughter. "Oh, my dear, because the coming year brings new opportunities, and we must make space to welcome them. There are things you don't yet know about tonight." Grace approached, curious. Since childhood, she had heard stories about ancient traditions, but she had never fully understood their importance. "What kind of things?" Emily smiled and took a small ceramic bowl filled with coarse salt. "This is not an ordinary night, Grace. It is one of the few times a year when the portals between the old and the new open. If we prepare ourselves, we can ensure that luck, prosperity, and health will stay with us throughout the year." "And how do we do that?" The grandmother placed the bowl on the table and pulled up a small stool to sit closer to her granddaughter. "There is a ritual passed down from generation to generation. It requires attention and faith. Tonight we will wash the floor with special water, throw away everything that no longer serves us, and bring the energy of abundance into this home." Grace's eyes widened. Since she was a child, she had seen her grandmother perform energy cleansings, but she had never participated in such an important ritual. "But does this really work?" she asked, skeptical. Emily let out a soft laugh. "Do you believe in the energy we feel when we enter a place? Have you noticed how some houses feel lighter, more welcoming, while others seem weighed down by sadness?" Grace nodded. "So, my girl, everything around us is energy, and just as we clean the visible dust and dirt, we must clean the energies we accumulate throughout the year. And tonight is the most powerful time for that." The young woman bit her lip, thoughtful. She had always been fascinated by her grandmother's stories, but now, for the first time, she felt a shiver down her spine. "What exactly do we need to do?" Emily stood up and began gathering the ingredients on the table. "First, we need morning water." "Melted snow?" "That's right. Water collected early carries the purity of the new day, free from the energies of the previous night. But if we don't have that water, we can use my Koyuchiyas," and began filling it carefully. Her mind was buzzing with questions, but something inside her told her to simply trust. "And you? Have you ever felt that certain rituals make a difference in your life? Comment below what you think about these traditions." With the water ready, Emily went to the shelf and took a small bag of sea salt. It was simple salt, but full of meaning. She carefully opened the bag and poured a generous pinch into the bowl of water. Salt is the guardian, the protector. It drives away negative energies and cleanses the house of anything that blocks prosperity from entering. Grace watched closely as her grandmother stirred the water with her hands, creating small circles, as though conducting a secret dance. "And the essential oil?" Grace asked, curious. Emily smiled and grabbed a small glass bottle, dropping a few drops of orange oil. Orange symbolizes renewal. Its fragrance brings freshness, new beginnings, a new cycle of health and happiness. Eucalyptus oil could also work, but this year, the energy of orange will be our ally. She dropped a few drops into the water, and the room immediately filled with a sweet, refreshing aroma. The soft light of the candle on the table seemed to intensify, reflecting off the walls of the room. Grace, touched by the scene, couldn't help but feel a strange sensation, as if the whole house was breathing with more vitality. Her grandmother had said the house was a living being, but now she was starting to understand what that really meant. "Now, let's move to the floor." Emily stood up and began preparing the rags. This is the most important moment. The energy of physical cleaning, while removing the visible dirt, also carries with it an energetic purification. Grace grabbed a cotton cloth, dipped it into the bowl of water and salt, and wrung it out carefully. The water seemed to glow in a way she had never seen before. It was as if something inside it was waiting to be freed. "Start in the farthest corner, Grace. The left side of the house is always the first to be purified. Don't rush the process. With every step, visualize the negativity being removed, the space becoming clean and ready for the new." The young woman hesitated for a moment, but then felt an inexplicable need to follow the instructions. She took the first step, feeling the cloth glide smoothly over the cold floor. As she did, she closed her eyes and imagined all the things that were bothering her. Work, concerns, doubts about the future, and even the fears that had followed her throughout the year. She imagined that all of it was dissolving in the water. With each movement, a sense of lightness enveloped her. It was as if she was not only cleaning the house, but also her own mind and spirit. "What do you feel, Grace?" Emily asked, watching her closely. Grace took a deep breath and opened her eyes, still holding the cloth. "It's as if the weight of the world is being lifted. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like my mind is becoming clearer." Emily nodded with a satisfied smile. "The house reflects our mind, my dear. And in this ritual, by cleaning the environment, we also cleanse our hearts and thoughts." Grace continued with the ritual, moving from room to room, feeling the energy of the house shift as the cloth passed. Deep down, she began to believe that something was truly happening. And you, have you ever felt that a simple act of cleaning could change your energy or your state of mind? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Emily and Grace spent the entire morning moving through the house, room by room, cleaning the floor with the mixture of water, salt, and essential oil. The house, which had once seemed normal, now radiated a unique sense of freshness and lightness. The atmosphere was more peaceful, and even the furniture seemed more welcoming, as though they were breathing together with the two. Grace sat on the couch for a moment, feeling the vibrant energy of the house. She looked at her grandmother, who was finishing up the final room, and asked, "Grandma, why is this ritual so special? I really feel like something has changed. It's not just the house, it's as if it's my whole life." Emily stopped and sat next to Grace. "The secret, my dear, lies in understanding that everything in the universe is energy. What we eat, what we feel, even what we think. When a house's energy is filled with negativity or imbalance, it reflects in our own lives. But when we clean the environment, physically and energetically, we are making space for abundance, for health, for well-being. It's as if the universe is a grand dance of energies. And by performing this ritual, you are tuning your life to a higher frequency." Grace looked at the corners of the room and then at the horizon, where the first rays of the sun were lighting up the landscape outside. For the first time, she felt that she wasn't just following an ancient tradition, but participating in something greater, something mysterious and profound. "How do we know the negative energy is really gone?" Grace asked, eager for more answers. Emily smiled and pointed to the bowl of water they had used in the ritual. "The last step is essential. When we finish cleaning, we need to dispose of the water outside. This is symbolic. We are giving nature the chance to transmute everything that has been removed. If you really feel that the environment has been purified, you'll see that the energy around you starts to change. Not just in your home, but in your life as well." Grace fell silent for a moment, processing her grandmother's words. She knew something was happening, but she couldn't quite put into words the intensity of the emotions that had surfaced in her heart. She stood up and went to the bowl, looking at the water, which now seemed purer, more crystalline. "And after this, Grandma, what do we do with the water? How should we dispose of it?" Emily slowly stood up and walked to the back door where the garden was. "Ideally, you should pour it onto the earth, Grace. That way, the earth absorbs the negative energy and transforms it into something new. If you can't do that, you can pour it down the sink, but always with gratitude. Gratitude is the key to completing the process." Grace followed her grandmother to the garden. She held the bowl firmly, and as she poured the water onto the earth, she felt a sense of relief, as if, by doing this, she was getting rid of something heavy, something that had never truly belonged to her. When was the last time you did something symbolic to release negative energies from your life? Comment below. The gentle sound of birds singing in the distance filled the air as Grace and Emily watched the water slowly disappear into the ground. A light breeze began to blow, bringing with it a fresh scent of nature. Grace felt that, somehow, the air there was different, lighter, purer. "Now, you'll notice something interesting, Grace. The ritual is not over yet," Emily said with a mysterious expression on her face. Grace looked at her grandmother, confused. "What else do we need to do? We've already cleaned the house, completed the ritual, and discarded the water. Doesn't it seem like everything is done?" Emily smiled, gently stroking her granddaughter's face. "Yes, the cleaning is done. But the universe demands that we be complete in our intentions. Remember, it's not just about the physical, but also the mind and spirit. Now, it's time to add a final touch to our journey." She paused before continuing. "We'll add elements that will further strengthen the energies you wish to attract into your life. Grace stepped closer, curious. What elements, Grandma? Emily walked over to the kitchen table and took out several white candles, placing them in the center of the room. Then, she picked up a small box filled with golden objects, prosperity coins. We'll add 3 coins to your water before we finish, and during the cleaning, you can visualize them as symbols of financial stability and a continuous flow of money. When you're done, you'll dry them, and they'll be your amulet. Keep them in a special place where you can always see them. Grace observed the coins carefully. They were simple, but there seemed to be something powerful in that gesture. And the candle, Grandma? What will it help with? Emily lit a candle and placed it in the center of the room. The flame danced gently, and the light seemed to spread through the house, creating a warm, serene atmosphere. The candle symbolizes light, renewal, and the beginning of a new cycle. It will anchor the energy you've attracted, fixing it in your home. Fire transforms, purifies, and brings out the true essence of everything that's happening. Grace, watching everything closely, began to realize that each detail seemed to be part of something much bigger. This ritual wasn't just a series of steps. It was a true ceremony of connection with the universe. Emily also lit a candle in a special corner and said, in a soft voice, "Now, take the coins, dry them carefully, and keep them with you. Whenever you need a sign that prosperity is coming, hold them and think of your intentions." Grace did as she was told, placing the coins in her wallet, smiling as she imagined what the future might hold for her. She felt a sense of inner peace, a calm she had never experienced before. Have you ever used an amulet to attract prosperity? Share with us in the comments. Grace stepped back for a moment to observe the room now illuminated by the candles, with a soft fragrance of flowers and the renewed air from the cleaning. Something was different. The atmosphere seemed more welcoming, as if it was waiting for new possibilities. Emily, on the other hand, smiled as she saw her granddaughter lost in her tharmae. It's amazing how, when we truly focus, we can feel the energy of the house changing. The transformation doesn't happen only inside of us, but also in the place where we live. Everything is connected, dear. Remember, Grace. Grace nodded, reflecting on Emily's words. You're right, Grandma. It feels like the house now has a different vibration, as if it's welcoming us, ready to help us attract everything we desire. Emily nodded, pleased with her granddaughter's understanding. She then walked over to Grace, picked up the lit candle, and said in a calm voice, "Now, the most important part, gratitude. Nothing is more powerful than it. When we express genuine gratitude, we create a deep connection with the universe. Gratitude is like a magnet that attracts more good things into our lives." Grace looked at the candle, and feeling its gentle warmth, closed her eyes. It was time to reflect. How do you give thanks? Curious. Emily smiled, her gaze full of wisdom. I give thanks for everything, even for the little things. I thank for my health, my family, the air I breathe, and the light that illuminates my path. And, of course, I thank every step we take together in search of prosperity and balance. Grace looked around, feeling warmth in her chest. She understood what her grandmother meant. Gratitude wasn't just a word or a gesture, it was a way of life. So, gratitude goes beyond the ritual, doesn't it? It should stay with us every day, Grace said, now calmer. Emily nodded, proud of her granddaughter. Exactly. Now, let's give the final touch. Remember, gratitude should be expressed not only in words, but also in your actions. Practice what you've learned today, and your year 2025 will be full of health, happiness, and prosperity. Grace felt a strong desire to continue with the ritual consistently. She knew that by keeping her focus on her intentions and connecting with what truly mattered, her life would take a new direction. The inner peace and positive energy were there to guide her. Have you ever practiced gratitude every day? What has that experience been like for you? Share your reflections in the comments. The next morning, the fresh winter air filled Grace's room. She woke up early, as she always did, but there was something different about that day. The cleaning ritual and the moment of gratitude from the night before had left a trace of serenity in her heart. Looking out the window, she saw the trees covered in frost and felt as if the whole world was breathing calm and tranquility. With a smile on her face, she got up, felt the cold wooden floor beneath her feet, and went to the kitchen to prepare her coffee. As she made the drink, her mind was focused on what Emily had said about prosperity symbols. That ritual had stayed with her. Looking out the window, Grace had an idea. She knew exactly what she needed to do. On the small altar that Emily always kept in the living room, there was an old wooden box she used to store small amulets. Grace remembered the prosperity coins her grandmother had mentioned and decided she would use the ritual to start her journey of financial and personal prosperity. Carefully, she took the coins out of her wallet and placed them in a bowl. She also grabbed some bay leaves, as Emily had suggested, and added them to the bowl. There, before her eyes, the coins shimmered gently in the light coming through the window. She visualized a flow of abundance surrounding those coins and bay leaves, as if a stream of prosperity was about to begin. The sensation was indescribable, as if the very energy of the house was applauding her actions. Grace felt another wave of gratitude. That small gesture seemed simple, but somehow, she knew it would be the start of a transformative cycle. The morning light was coming in strong now, and Grace felt that the time to act had come. She grabbed the paper and pen that had been used in the writing ritual the night before. Grace knew that the next step was essential to consolidate the entire process. She would write her wishes for the future, just as her grandmother had taught her. Grace smiled to herself, reflecting on the new year. The truth was, she felt life was giving her a new chance, and she knew she could be stronger, more resilient, more focused. With a gentle touch, she began to write, "My home is full of love and health, protecting all my loved ones. Financial abundance flows naturally, bringing me peace and fulfillment. I have clarity of mind and the courage to follow my dreams with confidence." She folded the paper carefully, feeling excited by the idea that she was aligning her wishes with the universe. It was as if an invisible force was cooperating with her with every word she wrote. Have you given yourself the time to reflect on what you want for the next year? What would you write on your list of intentions? Share your thoughts in the comments. The next day, the air was clear, and the sky promised renewal. Grace woke up earlier, feeling a clarity she hadn't experienced in a long time. The ritual from the night before seemed to have awakened something deep within her, a connection with the forces of nature, and she knew she was now ready to begin a new cycle, both in her personal and professional life. She went to the living room and looked at the small altar, where the coins and bay leaves were still shining faintly. She took the coins in her hands, feeling their energy, and put them back in her wallet. Every time she touched those coins, a wave of confidence swept over her, as if something was transforming inside her. Grace knew that the next step was to keep that energy alive. The day was already bright, and she remembered Emily's advice about the environment. Keep the house clean and organized, as this attracts more positive energy. Don't let clutter or unnecessary objects invade your space, as they can block the flow of prosperity and harmony. She focused on her house and decided to do a general cleaning. Not just physical cleaning, but also mental and energetic cleaning. For her, this act had become a reflection of the renewal she was feeling. As she wiped the furniture, she visualized the energy flowing through each room, removing everything negative or stagnant. With every space cleaned, Grace felt lighter, more prepared for the opportunities ahead. She knew her home was an extension of her own energy, and she was giving her life the space to receive good things. As she moved through the house, her thoughts wandered to Emily's advice. The cleansing ritual is more than just a physical practice. It's a way of aligning your energy with the forces of the universe. Grace spent some time reflecting on the symbolism of the cleansing and felt immense gratitude for the chance to renew not just her home, but her life as well. She felt her house embracing her back, like a warm and safe place where her positive energy could expand and grow. Do you believe that keeping your home clean and organized can positively impact your life? How do you feel when you're in a harmonious environment? Comment below and share your thoughts. In the following days, Grace noticed subtle changes in her routine. It wasn't anything grand, but small details began to stand out. People seemed more open and welcoming. Her work was flowing more smoothly. And even her finances started to improve, though still modestly. But to Grace, these were signs that the ritual was working. She remembered the final part Emily had mentioned, using music, candles, and mantras to strengthen positive energy. One morning, Grace decided to incorporate music into her routine, something she had never done so intentionally before. She put on a playlist of soft, calming music that helped her focus on the present. As she lit a white candle in the center of the room, she felt the energy of the house transform even more. The environment seemed brighter, more filled with possibilities. But the most transformative moment came when, with renewed faith, she sat down to recite her luck mantra. Every word she spoke resonated with her soul, like a promise that she was on the right path, aligned with what the universe had prepared for her. Light enters my house, health into my family, money into my life. So it will be. Grace didn't just say the words. She believed in them. She saw her house filled with light and prosperity. She visualized her life transforming, not magically, but with effort and alignment with the energies she was attracting. That day, something shifted inside her. She felt in tune with the universe in a way she had never experienced before. The ritual that had started as a simple practice had now become a fundamental part of her daily life. She knew that by maintaining this positive energy, she was creating a prosperous future for herself and those around her. Have you ever had an experience where small daily changes brought great results in your life? How do you usually connect with your energy and prosperity? Leave your comment below. We'd love to hear from you. As the days passed, Grace delved deeper into the practice of maintaining positive energy in her life. She understood that it wasn't just an isolated ritual, but a continuous commitment to her own evolution. It was as if the universe had given her a key, and now she needed to use it wisely. Every morning, upon waking up, Grace dedicated herself to what she called her energetic preparation, a combination of meditation and affirmations. Her mantra had become her shield, protecting her from the distractions and negativities of daily life. She began to notice more subtle changes in her everyday life. It seemed that the flow of opportunities had increased. Her work was flowing more smoothly, and almost miraculously, she began to notice new sources of income emerging, small but consistent, leaving her optimistic about the future. Her family's health had also improved. Her father, who had struggled with respiratory issues, was feeling stronger, and their relationship, once marked by misunderstandings and tension, began to soften. The words from the ritual weren't just words anymore. They had become a tangible truth, a daily reminder that everything in life depends on the energy we choose to nurture. On a cold December afternoon, as Grace prepared the meal for the family, she reflected on everything that had happened. The transformation was there, in every aspect of her life. The ritual had worked so naturally that she no longer needed external proof. She knew, for certain, that what she'd attracted with the practice had been the key to new beginnings and prosperity. Positive energy was flowing, and her house was filled with light, just as she had wished. Do you believe that daily rituals and energy practices can truly affect our reality? How do you deal with the energies around you? Comment below and share your experience with us. The next morning, Grace woke up before dawn, as she had gotten used to in the past few weeks. The silence in the house, once filled with the sounds of daily routine, now seemed imbued with a deep calm. She sat on the edge of the bed and did a brief meditation, allowing the energy of the new day to flow into her. As the soft sunlight began to paint the house with golden hues, she knew this was the perfect moment for another step in her journey. It was December 29th. The ritual was about to intensify. Grace prepared the essential items as she had learned: water, salt, and orange essential oil, symbolizing renewal. She couldn't deny the excitement she felt. It was as if the universe was conspiring to align her with her deepest desires. While performing the ritual, Grace's thoughts traveled to the future, to the year that was about to begin. She felt an unusual energy, as if the ground beneath her feet was being prepared for a new cycle. House had become a refuge, and the simple act of cleaning the floors connected her deeply to something greater. She visualized the negative energy being removed from every corner, as if she were freeing the house from an invisible weight. And it was right there, in the silence of that morning, that Grace had a revelation. It wasn't about instant magic. The power of the ritual wasn't just in the act itself, but in the intention, the love, and the gratitude with which she made each movement. She realized that by doing this, she was not only renewing her house, but also renewing herself from the inside. There was a bond between the environment and her emotions that she had never noticed before. Now, I'd like to know, what is your greatest wish for 2025? Do you believe intention can transform our reality? Comment below and share your vision. The next morning brought a different feeling to everyone in the house. It wasn't just the mild weather or the smell of freshly brewed coffee that felt unusual. The energy was lighter, more alive. Claire, sitting at the table, glanced to the side and noticed the sparkle in her grandmother's eyes. Something was transforming. "I really feel like this is going to work, Grandma," Claire said, still feeling the energy from the night before. "I never imagined that a simple ritual like this could change so much about how I feel." Energy, my dear, is not something we can touch, but we can feel it. It's in everything around us, like the wind we don't see, but know exists. Her grandmother's voice had a unique serenity, as if she were a keeper of ancient secrets. Now, it's time to maintain the balance. What you feel now, this peace, this confidence, is the reflection of what you planted. But the universe is like this. It gives, but it also requires us to keep acting. Claire nodded, absorbing her grandmother's words. They were far from simple. There was a deep meaning behind every gesture, every word spoken during the ritual. The old house was changing, but more importantly, Claire was changing. Do you believe simple rituals like this can really impact our well-being and prosperity? Comment below. Share your thoughts. The weeks passed, and Claire noticed the house seemed more alive. It wasn't just the new decor or attention to detail, but the way people were behaving. Her relationship with her parents seemed warmer, their conversations less tense, and, more importantly, Claire began to notice a positive pattern in her life. Every day seemed to bring a good news, a small event that seemed to signal that things were changing. She was intrigued by her father's experience. In the past few weeks, he had seemed more excited about her work, and Claire began to notice financial opportunities that had previously seemed distant, now emerging from unexpected places. The energy of the ritual seemed to be at work, something invisible and intangible, but palpable. "I think I'll try the ritual again, Grandma," Claire said one evening. "I feel like I need to reinforce this energy." "Yes, my dear," her grandmother replied with a smile. "But remember, the most important thing is that the Tasida, the ritual, is just the beginning. What truly brings change is the continuity of the energy you choose for your day-to-day life." How do you think the continuity of our actions impacts the results of rituals like these? Have you experienced something similar? Leave your comment below. Time passed, and with each passing month, Claire felt her life aligning more with her deepest desires. It wasn't just a vague feeling, but something concrete. Her work, once filled with challenges and insecurities, was flourishing in ways she had never imagined. Conversations with her parents became more harmonious, and even the small family disputes seemed to fade more easily. Claire's grandmother, in turn, continued to be the silent pillar, the one who knew that every process required patience and trust in what was to come. She never rushed into making grand promises, but always said that life is like a river, sometimes turbulent, sometimes calm, but always moving. Now that you've done the ritual twice, Claire, I think it's time to think about what you want to maintain throughout the year, her grandmother said on a sunny afternoon. The positive energy you've helped awaken needs to be cultivated. How will you continue nurturing it? Claire pondered. Her grandmother was right. She knew that a good start was important, but maintenance was what would ensure success. "I've been thinking a lot about that, Grandma," Claire replied. "I can keep doing small things every day, like keeping the environment clean and organized, paying attention to my feelings and how I treat the people around me. I know the ritual was just the beginning." Her grandmother smiled. "Yes, my dear. You're starting to understand the wisdom in the whole process. The simplest things are often the most powerful. Keeping the energy of prosperity isn't a difficult task, but it requires willingness, choosing each day to make that flow of energy continue." At that moment, Claire felt something different and something stronger than just the desire to see her life prosper. It was a deeper connection with the people around her, with nature, and, of course, with herself. She was understanding that the ritual wasn't just about achieving material or financial goals. It was about finding balance, inner peace, and harmony in everything she did. The house, which once seemed like just a place to pass through, was now becoming a true sanctuary of well-being and gratitude. Claire knew that maintaining this positive energy would require more than just a simple effort. It was a daily commitment. "I want this year to be the best one yet, not just for me, but for everyone around me," Claire said with a newfound determination in her voice. "No matter what happens, I will continue taking care of my energy, doing what I can to keep the flow of positivity and abundance." Have you ever committed to a ritual or practice that helps you maintain your positive energy? What do you do daily to ensure your life stays in harmony? Comment below. Months went by, and Claire's routine was more aligned with her goals than ever before. The small changes she had implemented after the ritual began to reflect deeply in her life. She knew the energy she had awakened during those special December days was manifesting in every aspect of her journey. And, as her grandmother had always told her, the secret wasn't just in the act of the ritual itself, but in the consistency of the actions that followed. Claire began to realize that prosperity wasn't something that simply arrived and stayed. It was like a plant that needed daily care. Each day, she took a moment to keep her home organized and clean, ensuring that the energy flowed without obstruction. The scent of cinnamon, orange, and vanilla filled the corners of her home, creating a warm and vibrant atmosphere. She also began to engage more deeply with the people around her, not just as a friend or colleague, but in a more profound way, cultivating relationships based on gratitude and respect. But there was more. Claire noticed that her desires were becoming clearer, stronger. She had found a way to align her mindset with what she truly wanted: health, abundance, and peace. One Saturday afternoon, Claire decided to do something she had always wanted to, but never had the courage to try. She was in the park, walking alone, when a brilliant idea emerged. She didn't just want to transform her life, she wanted to transform her community's life as well. She had already started with her inner circle, but why not extend that to others? She decided to organize a simple gathering in an open space to share some of what she had learned. She wanted to invite those around her to do a similar ritual, aiming to create a chain of positivity. Claire knew that by planting seeds of gratitude, love, and prosperity in people's lives, she would also be reinforcing this flow in her own life. I want to help people connect with their true energy, Claire thought as she gazed at the trees in the distance. If positive energy can change my life, it can definitely change the lives of others. She began to plan carefully. She decided to hold a simple event, with meditations, good conversations, and an exchange of experiences about the power of intention. It would be an opportunity for everyone to renew their energy and open themselves to new beginnings. News of the event spread quickly, and soon Claire was filled with anticipation. She knew she was taking the next important step in her journey, and that her mission was going beyond what she'd initially imagined. And have you ever thought about sharing what you've learned and helping others connect with their positive energy? What would you do if you had the chance to help a community improve? Comment below and share your vision. Claire's event was a success. On the scheduled day, the park was filled with people with open hearts, ready to learn and experience something new. They gathered under the shade of a large tree, and the weather was perfect. The clear blue sky and fresh air brought a sense of renewal. Claire, with a gentle smile on her face, began the gathering. She felt a very strong energy seeing those people ready to embrace something that could transform their lives. She asked everyone to sit in a circle, close their eyes, and connect with the present moment. The idea was to create a space of tranquility, where everyone could feel comfortable sharing their experiences and doubts about the ritual and its effects. When the energy is in harmony, everything around you begins to align, Claire began, her voice calm but firm. What you feel right now, in this very moment, is the energy of a new beginning. Everyone here has a purpose, and today we will connect with it in a unique way. She explained to the attendees the importance of keeping the energy of the home clean and positive, talking about the practice she had done herself and how she had noticed changes in her life. The conversation continued, filled with personal examples and stories from friends and family who had benefited from adopting similar practices. When Claire spoke about the importance of lighting candles and keeping the environment clean, she wasn't just sharing a ritual. She was conveying the idea that life is about intentions. Every action has power, and the way we handle the energy around us can shape our destiny. During the conversation, she suggested that everyone perform the ritual individually at home, but also share it with someone special. What happens when more than one person connects with this positive energy? Claire asked. The answer is simple. We multiply that energy, creating a chain that not only elevates our own being, but also reverberates in others. The atmosphere was filled with curiosity and excitement. People began to ask questions, share their fears and hopes. An elderly lady stood up and, with a shy smile, commented on how she had always felt her home was full of negativity, but never knew how to deal with it. I've always felt something in my house, something that kept me from being happy, from truly enjoying life, she said. Now I know it's the energy, and I can do something about it. Claire smiled and nodded. She knew how liberating that understanding was. It was as if the lady had found the key to open a locked door that had kept her in a cycle of negativity for so long. The gathering continued with more exchanges of experiences and small practices. Claire guided everyone in a short, simple meditation, helping them visualize light entering their bodies and filling the home with positive energy. That small practice was creating something much larger, a collective field of elevated vibrations. As the participants dispersed, with lighter expressions and hearts full of gratitude, Claire felt a deep sense of peace. She had taken the first step to expand her mission, and somehow she felt that she was now in the right place, doing what she was meant to do. Her life was transforming as she helped others transform theirs. On the way home, she thought about the importance of that meeting. It was the reflection of what she had started months before, during her personal ritual. The cycle of positive energy was expanding and touching lives. She smiled to herself, feeling that every step she took was more aligned with what she truly wanted for the future. Have you ever had a group experience like this? Felt the energy of many people aligned for collective well-being? What do you think about creating spaces to exchange good energy with others? Comment below. In the following days, Claire received several messages from people who attended the event. Some were amazed by the immediate effects of the ritual, while others shared their discoveries about the power of keeping the environment clean, not just physically, but spiritually. The news about Claire's gathering spread, and she received invitations to speak in other groups, and even to organize new events. But despite all the excitement, Claire knew that the real power lay in maintaining the daily practice. She didn't want to be seen only as someone who shares a technique, but as someone who lives and breathes what she teaches. She decided to create an online support group where people could connect and share their experiences and challenges. The group would be a place where members could encourage each other to maintain positive energy in their homes, sharing their progress and results with the ritual. More and more, Claire saw the importance of creating a support network. Prosperity didn't come only from material possessions or instant changes. It came from collective energy, from the union of hearts and minds with a common purpose. She knew that the exchange of positive energy had no limits, and the more she dedicated herself to it, the more she saw the fruits of that dedication. Now, with her group expanding and more people engaged, Claire felt she was at the center of a movement. The simple ritual she had learned and practiced was becoming a lifestyle, a new way of living and connecting with the world. And you, what have you been doing to maintain the flow of positive energy in your life? Share your experiences, leave your comment below, and if you liked this story, like and share it with your friends so more people can transform their lives just like Claire did.